Hi there, it's Nicole Spohr, and today I am so excited to be sharing another card featuring new products from the Mama Elephant 8th anniversary release. Today we're going to do some shading die cuts with Copic markers, one of my favorite things to do, using the brand new Fall Foliage and the Mixed Holiday Greetings stamp set. So all the dies are from the Fall Foliage. It's actually the Foliage frame, pardon me, and we have a frame, we have leaves and beautiful flowers, as well as little sprigs with berries on them. I have die cut the frame from a green cardstock that I'm going to shade with Copic markers, and I am shading this with G05 and G09. Not really doing any blending. I'm laying out the light color first, just kind of doing a feathering or flicking kind of technique, and then going in with my darker color to add in a little bit more. I purposely did not do a lot of blending because I want a lot of texture here, and I'm only doing the leaves around the frame. We're going to go ahead and leave the center as is. I think it's incredible how much depth and dimension you can get with this technique with your flowers and leaves and all of that good stuff, or even any other images, just with a couple of markers on a colored cardstock. You might not always think of choosing a colored cardstock when doing Copic coloring, but it really is a fantastic, quick and easy way to get some depth and dimension without having to start from scratch with white cardstock. So it's one of my very favorite things to do with die cuts, because instead of a flat die cut, you're going to see what a huge difference it makes. Now, I have already done some of the other dies from the Foliage frame, and you're going to see what a difference. I'm going to hold one up that I have not colored, and then I will hold up one that I have shaded, and I'll do the same thing with the flower. I'm working my way slowly around this frame. There are a lot of leaves, but I think it's definitely worth it. This is a little bit lighter green cardstock that I started out with for the frame itself. For the individual leaves that we're going to layer over this frame, those are going to be from a darker cardstock, and I'll use a different color combination for those two particular leaves. And then I have another couple of colors for the flowers. These aren't necessarily a poinsettia, and I really just did them more as a red holiday flower, and I think it really works beautifully. I also think you might not necessarily see this card and think Mama Elephant, and I think that that's one of the fun things to try to challenge yourself to do, is to take products that tend to be maybe more cutesy and fun, and this card actually is quite a bit more elegant. And I always love to find ways to take products and turn them into something completely unique and completely my own, and these definitely fit that bill. This is a beautiful frame. I could see using this all year round. You can turn these colors into any color and absolutely have them be summer flowers, fall flowers, whatever the case may be. One of my other favorite products from this 8th anniversary release is the Mixed Holiday Greetings stamp set, which has stacked sentiments with mixed greetings, so mixed fonts. It is so good. Before I start assembling anything on top of this frame, I want to stamp and emboss my sentiment. We are using the Merry Christmas from Our Home to Yours, kind of over on the right side of the card. I'm going to stamp that with clear embossing ink and heat emboss with white embossing powder. The white is really going to pop on the green cardstock, and it's going to tie in to our card base. This frame is definitely not A2 size. So we're going to have a nice border all the way around our card. You could put another color of cardstock behind this, but I really wanted to keep it holiday colors, and I wanted to keep it fairly simple since we have a lot going on the frame itself. So I kept the sentiment with white embossing so it ties back in to our card base. Now, once I have that, we are going to color the next part of our card design, which are some of these great individual leaves. We're going to build our little floral cluster from the background up. In this case, we're going to start with leaves, and I'm going to actually die cut them from our Lawn Fawn Noble Fur cardstock and also a gold mirror cardstock so that I can layer the leaves on top of the gold for a little bit of shadow. I tried to add little touches of gold in to give a little bit more elegance to this design. So there is the look of one leaf colored, leaf cluster colored, and one not. And I'm going to go ahead and glue the one I've colored already onto the gold, and I'm going to just show you how I'm offsetting it just a tiny little bit so it has that nice little drop shadow. And then we'll take the second leaf and YG 95 and 97 Copic markers and start adding some shading. For this, I actually started with my darker marker, the YG 97, and I'm going to layer in YG 95 to pull that color out a little bit. Again, not doing a ton of shading, just feathering that color in. And then blending kind of out when I go back over it with the lighter marker, I suppose, a little bit, but not necessarily blending, just feathering over that with my marker. Then we'll go ahead and glue this on top of the other gold leaf cluster and start coloring in our flowers, which I'm going to show you the difference between one I've already colored off camera and one I will color on camera. We're actually going to do 3 groups of the flowers. Each flower has 3 layers. 1 5-petal layer and then 2 3-petal layers. And there's one I did, and then the one I haven't, and it looks so flat, right? The one with the shading is fantastic. We're using R46 and R59 and pulling that color out from the center. And once we have that done, we can assemble our flowers. And I only like to put adhesive in the center of the flowers as I'm adhering them together. That way you can kind of bend and play with the petals when they're not glued flat. And that gives a little bit more of that depth and dimension and a little texture to the floral design that we're going to be creating here. Now the little red berries, they're so teeny tiny. I opted not to add shading to those, and instead we're going to cover those and make them look like little sugared holly berries with a little Nouveau Crystal Drops and White Blizzard. Here are my leaf clusters that we're going to layer over the frame. I'll go ahead and adhere those. And then we're going to just kind of cover where the 2 meet with our flowers. And you can see how I'm kind of bending the petals up and giving the flowers a little bit of shape. I ended up using about 5 of these sprigs, which are going to be die cut from that gold mirror cardstock. I started with 2 and ended up with 5. I kind of kept adding until I felt like the floral arrangement looked the way I wanted it to. And I really love that there is this piece and then all the separate little berries, as it makes it really easy to have those little two-tone. And for whatever reason, this little piece adds so much to the finished design, I think. Just really cute and fun. I love, if you guys have followed me for a while, you know I love finishing details, and I think that's probably what draws me to these little berries, is they are a fantastic finishing detail. Great little fillers for our floral arrangement. We're going to add in a little bit more right there. We have a couple over here, and then we're going to have two or three. I guess 3 are going to end up being over on the left and 2 on the right. I always try to go with an odd number when adding my embellishments. These red colors almost match my nails. I didn't even notice it when I was coloring, but as we're doing voiceover, I can see that. Works for the holiday card. I really love this whole foliage frame set. It's so beautiful. We're going to tuck that last little flower grouping in. And then I do want to let the liquid glue completely set and dry so they're nice and secure and they're not going to go anywhere. This is a great opportunity too, if you need more die cuts. As I mentioned, I wanted more of those little sprigs with the berries, so I'm going to go ahead and grab more of those, tuck those in place, add the berries, and then on top of my berries, I'm going to use the Nouveau Crystal Drops, as I was talking about, and a very, very light layer to each of these so that it has that sugared kind of look to it. We're going to let that completely dry. We're going to take some metallic jewels and glue clusters of them in the center of each flower. I'm using little dabs of glue and an embellishment wand to easily pick those up and pop those down in place. And again, that's another little finishing detail that adds a ton to the card. Other than that, we are almost finished. We're going to take this whole panel and add it to a white side fold card base. And when you place this on the white card base, you're going to see how much the beautiful greens and reds of this design really pop, and how the white embossing definitely works so nicely with that background. Thank you guys so much for joining me today for this die cutting or Copic coloring on die cuts card featuring the foliage frame and mixed holiday greetings from Mama Elephant. The supplies I used to create my card are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube. Here are a couple more videos featuring Mama Elephant that you might be interested in. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell to never miss a new card making video. Thank you so much for joining me today, and we'll see you next time.